We'll get cozy.
You're live.
Woohoo! Sweet deal.
We've never done it this way.
We don't know how to do this. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Atlantic Bushcraft Adventures, episode 81, shooting live from Ben's place. First time we're actually being able to get together and have a little chat like this. So
yeah. This is not. It's a little off-putting. We're used to being able to see each other on the video. It's a little bit. We'll get over it.
Everything used to have a flow, and we just messed that flow right up. So we kind of came in tonight. We got together for a different reason than the podcast. Podcast was just a happy little coincidence, and we were at a loss for what to do. So
we got some top secret projects on the go. So we can't really talk too much about them, but that's the reason we're here. And we thought we'd just have a general chat. He's here anyways. It's a little bit different.
Well, it's better than driving like snot to try and get home and do it from there. Like I might have been able to just do it, but it wouldn't have been pretty. I mean, I wouldn't be my normal sexy self on the other end, that's for sure.
Well, especially if you made it in time, but
I definitely wasn't going to make it in time. Right. On a good night, we don't start on time, Ben, because I always find a reason to get us a few minutes over, but
it wasn't worth the race.
No, honestly, it wasn't.
Tickets and the accidents, and
we had to look at a few other things. We had I got to see some of Ben's equipment here. Like I said, this is the first time that we've actually broadcast together like this. We did do one we were talking about in Truro Park.
Yeah.
Victoria Park?
Yes.
Victoria Park.
That was recorded, was it not? Or it wasn't live?
No, maybe I did. I don't know if that was live or not. I honestly can't remember now. I might have put that up live. It was a short one.
Yeah.
We were going to try and do a little small segment on traveling to parks, but nobody really showed any interest in it, and we never got around to going to any other park, so it never really went anywhere. But this is the first time we've actually been face to face in Ben's recording little studio down here, and nice little setup we got here. And like I said, I got to see some of his gear and mull over a lot of it. And we talked about the bows, and the big thing, as Ben said, was we got to work and look at some of our projects. So we recorded one tonight. We brainstormed on another one that we've been working on in the past and just kind of resurrected.
Close to a year-long project. Not that it's actually going to take a year to do. It's just getting together and collaborating on certain ideas. So.
Well, that's the problem with a lot of the projects is you got to get together to collaborate on it. Like this specific project we're talking about, I was designing parts and sending to Ben. Ben would take the parts and put on what he designed, and then he'd send me pictures, and then it was working, but not well.
No.
So this is definitely the better way of doing it, of course, and hopefully in the near future, you'll see a few more videos coming out with some of these projects coming to fruition.
Oh yeah.
So,
and, I mean, this year has been crazy. The whole COVID thing, and I'm tired of using that as an excuse in life. Like we can't live our lives that solely to that, especially like bushcrafting and camping. It's not a great excuse, but we are getting settled in. We're kind of the new normal is working. I know for myself, my family's get more comfortable with how things are. So we're getting out. Me and my wife, we got out for a trip 2 weekends ago. To Keji. It was pretty good. We got a lot of pictures. There's some of those posted on my Facebook page, more on my wife's. She's much better picture taker and video taker than I am. So like I'm a horrible podcaster and YouTuber. Honestly, I just like being out there and enjoying it. I do enjoy talking about it. I love these podcasts and stuff, but getting the good video, it takes a lot of discipline. I really got to hand it to those that do that well. It is an awesome skill, but it's also great to get out there and do stuff and just to enjoy it. I mean, I had the couple weekends when I was out there, it was beautiful weather. I got to say, we had awesome weather the whole time I was in Keji. We had some beautiful sunsets. My buddy Chris got some beautiful stuff. Yes, Alan, we're together tonight. First time really, and pretty well this series, except for a couple like short videos we've done, a couple of recordings and stuff, but for the actual true podcast, and it's kind of exciting. It's kind of a neat experience. Like if you weren't here for the start of it, you can see we're falling over ourselves a little bit because it's like starting over again, almost from square one. We don't really know how to function with this. So you guys are gonna wonder what the hell's going on with my hand down here. I'm being attacked by a vicious dog.
But no, so I guess the main point of tonight is we do have some stuff on the go. There is a couple projects we're working on. You have another trip planned coming up.
I do. I have 2 nights in Keji, a much more aggressive trip than my 3-night trip. My 3-night trip was actually basically a relatively easy paddle in. We spent 3 nights in the same area and then came out. We just did quite a bit of exploring. We did in there, did some hikes, did some paddles out to some different places. This trip is, I think, 10 portages and 12 lakes in 2 days.
So you're going to be pushing her. Or hoofing her, I should say. There's going to be a lot of movement.
Yeah. The 3rd day is going to be basically an easy day. So it's a 1 portage out and then just out through Minyards Bay and into Eelware. But we're going to go into Eelware. We're going to go all the way down to some of the most southern lakes. And then come back up through Pescawisk and stuff, and we're doing like portages A, B, C, D. You know.
And I know you're going out with Chris. Is just 2 of you, or is there a few more you going?
No. It's the wife is coming.
Okay.
Right? I am taking my significant other. She's quite good at this too. She really enjoys it. We are going to do a few things that are kind of out of our comfort zone. Not so much mine or hers, but just together. So we're planning on taking a canoe. The last trip we took was 2 kayaks. Having options is great. Getting used to being in a canoe together, it's not so hard on me. I'm a bit more comfortable with it. My wife really hates the rocking motion. So if I move or adjust, she really it creates a little moment of panic in her. And it's hard for some people to get past that. But we're going to try it. Last time we took my Wild Haven tent, which I really do enjoy. I think I'm going to get the hot use that as a hot tent this winter. Maybe I can convince Robert to join me. I think there's enough room for 2 people. It's an amazing tent. I think it's the most underappreciated of that series Wind Tigers put out.
Well, I believe that's the one you did the review on, was it not?
It is, and it's been discontinued, I believe. So it's really hard to get them now. But it has the biggest footprint.
Yeah, because when it was set up, it was actually pretty good size. There should be plenty of room in there for two full adults to lay down with a little bit of gear.
Yeah,
and the little stove in there, and we'll be good to go.
And even if worst came to worst, because we'll want wood in there, we may push some of our gear outside, leave it outside.
Yeah, and that's no big deal anyway.
No, decent packs. But and in the winter, I won't take the screen. Like the screen takes up almost as much room as the tent itself. So that's going to be pretty good. So then we got that as an option. We have a couple other projects that we've really wanted to try. One was the pallet wrap.
I have a roll of pallet wrap waiting for that project. So we've seen it online. Little story on that was both of us kind of seen the same video around the same time. And anybody watching our channel probably has at least caught wind of this. A couple fellas went out and just built a pole frame and did the pallet wrap around it. So we'd really like to kind of try that ourselves too, just to see how well it works out.
Yeah.
And I mean, the beauty of it is your imaginations are limited for how big you want to make this and how intricate you want to make it. The downside of it is you have a whole bunch of pallet wrap you got to kind of ball up and take out with you. But I think that the advantages are going to outweigh that little pesty thing. You know what I mean? And that's really not that bad. Pallet wrap has very little weight.
No weight. It's good. I think like when it's on a roll, it's not even all that bulky. But when we take it out, I know because I used to wrap my trailer with it. It never, like most cheap tarps, it never goes back into the same size that it came out of. So it traps a lot of air and stuff, and it's going to come out in a giant ball shape that's going to weigh like 2 pounds at most. So it'll be insignificant. We'll probably use some kind of sled system to get it in. I tried that the other year. Varying success with a cheap one. Found a nose in, drove in. So
a sled system?
Sled system.
Now, something I have found that's been working well, and I just kind of stumbled upon it watching another YouTuber who didn't purpose it for this, but I thought, it might work good for that. So they make an actual floating sled for duck hunting, for hauling your decoys and stuff out, and it actually works pretty well in the snow.
Yes, those are a bit heavier.
They are heavy. That is the downside. They're bulky. They're not. You're not traveling light, but as we know, light for me is 50 pounds, so it's well within my realm of traveling light. But it does work. It dual purposes because I would like to do a little duck hunting one of these times. Not that I'm a big fan of eating ducks, But I do enjoy the duck hunting, and if I do shoot it, I will eat it, of course.
Yeah.
I am a big believer in if you shoot it, you got to eat it.
Yeah.
So
you just take it camping with us. We'll cook it up.
Yeah, kind of deal. And that's the other thing I want to try and do this year. If I can, ultimately, one of my goals is to try and get out and do a bushcrafting hunting weekend.
Yeah.
So I'm going to try. I don't know if it's going to be I really like to do it for pheasants. I'm a big bird hunter. I love to hunt pheasants or grouse or stuff like that.
I could join you for that.
I enjoy hunting deer with my father-in-law.
Yeah.
We go out. We have a lot of fun with it. I enjoy the idea of bow hunting.
Yeah.
I take my bow out. I told you before, a couple times I've actually forgotten the arrows in the truck, and I've still gone out and had a great time. Just as good a time as if I had taken the arrows. It's about getting out more than the hunting.
Oh, yeah.
And we've talked about this in the past too. But yeah, one of my hopeful goals this year is to do a hunting / bushcrafting weekend where I can get out, do a little grouse hunting, set up a little base camp, and work out of that. So yeah, I'll let you know what weekend that's coming up. Probably, I have some family stuff going on there, and motorcycle courses are running late this year, but I'm hoping I'm going to have some weekends off in October when we can go.
Yeah. Well, I'm pretty busy myself right now, but I'm hoping in October I'll have some openings. I got a few people contacting me and wanting to do some trips and stuff, which is always exciting. There's no lack of opportunity. It's just building up the time to do it for me. But it's getting better.
There we go. Yeah. Hey, that works way better.
Yeah, we can kind of see each other to see, it looks like we're actually looking at the As you can tell, we're the most professional podcasters in the world.
Oh, man. We are we have the stage lighting. We got the classy, it has to be at least, 8K, maybe even 10K camera. I mean, this is high. Okay, so maybe we're more amateur level, but we have a lot of fun. That's the point of this, right?
It is. This was always about us having fun. It was never about profit or anything foolish like that. We're two guys that really do love being outdoors, and any excuse to get out there. Like you said, we don't care if we forget our arrows or bullets, or if the camera's working properly. If we're out there, we're enjoying it. Bearded Prince, please do a drinking challenge.
Who's that?
The Bearded Prince.
Bearded Prince, please do a drinking challenge. All right. Specify the guidelines to said drinking challenge. Keep in mind, we try to keep everything PG. So we do like our videos to be at least somewhat welcoming to everybody. We don't specifically tailor them to children, so that's all right. But we do like them to be PG. We don't try to offend anyone or anything like that. So just keep that in mind. But if you got some ideas, I mean,
I did do the 3-shot challenge last year.
I did the 3-shot challenge as well. So that's floating around on the internet. I can't remember what my wife. Did you see Melissa do the 3-shot challenge on her Facebook?
I don't remember.
Oh, that was a good one. I'm not going to tip the hat too much on that. Just go back and check hers. It's worth watching. Yeah. But so we do have some projects on the go. We do have some plans for later in the year. September did kind of bugger up on both of us. Well, not too bad. You had some outings, but mine, there's, like I said, I have some family stuff going on there. All good, of course. Potentially a new little one coming into the world, hopefully in the near future. I know she's itching to have it done and over with at this point. So,
sure. Yeah.
Not my wife, by the way. I don't want to get too much into my personal family life, but I'll leave it at that. Yeah. And I mean, September was really busy for the motorcycle courses. Those that don't know, I also teach motorcycle courses on weekends, aside from my 9-to-5 job. And September just kind of hit us pretty busily because of, once again, COVID. Not using it as an excuse, as Ben said, but it's a reality. This year was affected by COVID. So we slammed a whole bunch of extra courses in and stuff like that. But we do have plans. And as I said, mine's to get out, do a hunting, bushcrafting weekend. Ben has some, at least this one boating one coming up, and potentially more you were talking about.
Well, there's always those chances. I mean, I have a little bit of an addiction to boats. I got to admit, you've seen some of my flotilla.
I've seen some of your fleet. Vice Admiral Greening over here is,
and it's not finished. People get kind of upset sometimes when they see it, and they're like, "How many boats do you need?"
each take a shot. First one to pass out loses. That might be a little.
It's a long video, buddy.
I was about to say, we don't talk about it a whole lot, but on our first outing, Ben and I, we had met each other. Okay, a little bit of a story. For those of you that know our show, this is the ramble section. So Ben and I met originally at the Nova Scotia Bushcraft Gathering, very first one, I believe.
It was 3 years ago.
Heck, I don't know. I should be able to look back and look at my poster, but it's usually on the wall behind me. But
well, we've been doing this for a year and a half.
Yeah.
And it was like 2 years before that. So 3.5, almost 4 years.
Maybe 4 years. But in any case, we met at the first Nova Scotia Bushcraft Gathering. And aside from, like a hey, how's it going, and a general little chit chat about a few
like
things,
on a video, or
that's about all we knew about each other. And then we were on the Nova Scotia Bushcraft Facebook page, and we started this idea. And Ben and I were kind of like, oh yeah, that'd be fun. So let's do this. And we literally never got together, nothing like that. We just planned our first camping outing.
Yeah.
And that was the one from the waterfalls when we first started back on Facebook, and we went in, and the one we laugh about a little bit because we may have underprepared for the coolness of the weather. That we survived it though, as you can see. But we did have a few wobbly pops during that time, and we had some stories, and it was a good time. So it's not out of the realm of possibilities of potentially having a few drinks, a drinking contest to pass out, maybe extreme. Somebody may have to come get us out of the woods, unfortunately.
One is I only have so much room in my pack, and
that's kind of the downside. We'd almost have to do it during a podcast, and I don't know if people want to watch us try and get tanked online so much. But
oh man, we definitely get flagged for something.
Yeah, I was about to say, if we ever hit that point to be monetized, that video will definitely be demonetized. But,
we might lose a couple of points in the next few.
But something we did talk about, and it's still not completely off the table, is once upon a time we talked about doing the digital campfire with a few other buddies of ours, and that hasn't gone away. If people are looking for updates on that, it's just taken a back burner once again. This year, we had that we couldn't meet people. You had to be self-isolated if you did, and then it was just your family and immediate bubbles. And we're just starting to get back to some grasping straw of normality at this point.
Yes.
As you can see, like I'm up here with Ben. We're still within the Atlantic bubble. We don't have to self-isolate, and all that stuff's good. But people are still getting their other trips out of their way. Or getting them in, I should say, because a lot of people, they canceled vacations. Like my vacation in March got toasted, and much like Ben's family, they had to give up some stuff because of COVID. And Gary, the other one that was going to be the digital campfire, and Jeremy, I don't know. Jeremy does what Jeremy does. A Jeremy will do what a Jeremy will do.
Well, yeah, and his channel is still doing quite well, and he's quite busy, and he's got his work schedule, and Gary has his work schedule, and there's other people that we deal with and talk with and stuff that are awesome guys that we'd love to include in these type of things, and they all have different work schedules, so it's really hard to come up with a steady plan. But once we come up with one, or it could be a rotating thing, where me and Robert are probably going to be pretty consistent, and then other people will come and go as they wish. And I think we'd also love if we could get, and there is chat about this, is another gathering amongst some of these key people in an actual trip. And some of that talk is actually to not video a lot of it. I know that's disappointing to some of the viewers, but it's a great chance for us to talk and discuss things. And I'm sure that there will be some videos and photos to come out of it, but a lot of it will be just us getting to be us, because that's what sometimes gets lost. And I've even heard some of the guys that are really into videoing everything say, like, sometimes I just want to get out there and do stuff. Because you can't imagine how much time and effort like goes into this. I've been in with a few guys doing it, and honestly, like, they got to set the camera up, you got to walk by, you got to come back. If people are staring at the camera or doing things, it ruins the shots. You got to go back and fix it. It's really hard to make it look natural and real. And it's still, it's great. Mr. Popular.
I was about to say, is somebody actually talking to me?
No. So, but yeah, no.
Yes, Alan, I still have that banner. If you're If you were wondering about that, it's if you look in my videos or look in our past videos, you'll actually see the corner of it just behind my right head. It's up in my office.
Your right head as opposed to your left head?
Well,
Right side of your head?
Right side off my head.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, no. Getting out there and doing things with different people, it's great. I mean, we probably, if it wasn't for money and people and all that, we'd probably be out there 24/7, honestly.
Wow, I don't know where any keys are on this phone. Okay. Sorry, I had to shoot a quick message to Mel. But yeah, it's one of those things, like Ben said, a lot of people don't realize how much goes into shooting the videos, even us. I mean, and we are like the bottom of the barrel amateur shooters here. Don't get us wrong. We are not photographers. We are bushcrafters first and foremost, photographers second. And
third, fourth.
Yeah, probably even 10th. But it's astounding. It still surprises me how much time goes into doing stuff like this. Like even the little bit of stuff we did tonight.
Yeah.
We might have been shooting for what, an hour?
Yeah.
And by the time it's all said and done, I bet you there'll be 6 to 7 hours put in just to get that 1 hour of recording to something that's going to be usable for you folks out there. So people like Jeremy specifically, Jeremy has really nice, beautiful shots. I mean, I can't imagine how much time he puts in there. And people say, oh, well, you get into a group. Yeah, there's a little bit of a knack to it, but there's still just straight up raw time that has to be put into stuff.
If he takes 6 hours with a video, he still has to watch 6 hours with the video. And then he probably puts just as much time into editing. He's going to choose, I want all of this. I want part of this. I want it in this order. Sometimes he has to change the order. Sometimes it does stick into his logical order, but sometimes that just doesn't make sense in the video. And he's a stickler for detail. He picks up on little things that a lot of us miss. And he said, like, if you don't have that continuity, for example, if you take a bunch of videos and then someone changes how they're dressed in the middle of the video and then goes back, it really throws people for a loop. And it doesn't seem like much to you. You're walking, you're hot, you take your jacket off, throw it in your pack, and you walk for a while, and it's cool, and you put it back on. Well, that changing kind of throws people off. It's like, is this a logical sequence? Did something happen? Where did I miss that? Like, I did that on a trip with him one time. He made me put it back on. Like, he's like, no, we got to get that video now. Like, if you want to take that off, that's fine, but we got a video that has to be part of the sequence so people understand what was going on. And
see, I wouldn't have thought of that.
No,
honestly.
no. He sees things different than us.
And that's kind of the mark of somebody that's good at their craft. Like, our craft is not videography.
No.
So, I mean, we're still learning and I dare say struggling sometimes to get through it. But it's maddening how in depth you can get into this. And especially for somebody with an eye for detail, they'll probably put, for a video that would take us 6 hours, it may take, maybe it's less, but I imagine it's probably even more because he's going over it frame by frame. Is where we give it a half glance and go, oh, it looks good, and off we go, right?
Yeah. So that is true. I didn't video it, but I did practice my fire starting skill with the bow drill.
Did you?
Yeah. It was okay.
I just recently pulled up the videos from when we camped on the lake and tried to get the bow drill going.
Yeah.
And
that was rough.
That was rough. That was rough. That's the other part that a lot of people don't see is sometimes things don't go to plan.
Yeah. So everything seemed to work out. Like I took a piece of firewood from Keji. So it's from their stack of firewood that you're free to work with. And I tried to make my spindle and my board out of the one piece like we talked about. Mm-hmm. And I got that there and I set it off and I found a piece of wood that I could use as a bow. I didn't want to disturb too much because you're a little in the gray area there in Keji doing that. You're not supposed to pick up brush or anything. Mm. And found a piece that was adequate and tried it. And I got I got a bit of a lot of the powder, but not much of an ember into it. Honestly, it's exhausting. Like I cannot imagine that having to be my way of starting.
Oh, and learning is, and I don't mean like learning your first time, relearning after you've been away from it for a while. You forget how intensive it is. There's lots of people out there that make it look easy.
Oh, yeah.
Sam, for one, can hammer out a bow drill in like that, and he makes it look like you should be able to breeze through it. Like,
Yeah.
oh, heck, anyone can do that.
Yeah.
Let me tell you,
you.
not so much. The other one's a hand drill. Hand drill is insanely hard on you.
Yeah, you showed me.
And it is just brutal.
And that was with a spindle that you had made. I think it was with cattail.
Cattail
that
had
was
pre-dried it.
Pre-dried and ready to go. And you had the board that worked really well. And you had it all sat there, and you worked it. And
I can't remember if I got an ember going with that.
Yeah.
There is ways to cheat, but I mean, it's...
Yeah, no, you did get a bit of an ember, not enough that we could start a fire, but you did show me that it functionally works, and it's a really neat system. I enjoyed watching it. But no, it's the other thing I practiced because I had spare time is I did make a little deadfall trap and
Figure four?
Figure four, yeah.
Nice.
I whipped one out and I showed Chris's young fella how to do it.
Sweet.
Yeah.
And that was one of the skills we had practiced during our first trip. Once again, we did a little bit of what did we do? We did some figure fours, and I did a spring pole trap, I think.
Peter North here. No, Dolphin, so we have to take classes. West on this. Peter.
What is it?
Peter North? You think that's really Peter North?
Ah.
I know the actor.
Well, that is true. I know the actor as well, but
I'm gonna leave it.
if that's true, well, that's kind of interesting. Hey, when I was younger, loved your work, and that's why our shows are PG and not necessarily G. But
do that that way. Let's just say I can shoot for an aperture.
Well, if it is Peter North, good on you. And if it's not, well, you know who he is at least. But
he's from Halifax.
Is he?
Yeah.
Seriously?
Now you've made me feel like I know too much.
No, I mean, I know random tidbits of information. I just didn't know that, but that's an interesting thing. But
yeah.
So you take classes out west on what? Dare I ask? And if anybody doesn't know who Peter North is, don't Google
it. How'd it work?
Don't Google it. Just leave it be.
We're due. It's up to you.
I mean, you've been warned.
We didn't recommend it. Voting nudity. Well, was it Trudeau? Not the one we got now. The first one.
Oh,
all good Canadians should know how to have sex in a canoe.
That sounds familiar, and I would chalk it up to him to say that. That's for sure. I mean, there's a lot of physics that come involved in that. I mean, there's tipping.
There's ocean. Yeah, careful. You're across the lake, and you're not sure how that happened.
There's a little bit to it, but okay, we derailed a little bit there. What were we talking about?
Videoing this.
No. Like I said,
PG or PG-esque. Anyways,
but yeah, I don't know that threw such a curveball at me. I don't know where we were on that one now.
We were talking about figure four deadfall.
Oh yeah. So the first time we were out, we did the 2 figure fours. We did a spring pole. There was some videos on the spring pole. We didn't do the figure four. That'd actually be a good idea for us to reapproach.
Yeah.
And redo a little bit of video, maybe on some basic trapping and stuff like that. Probably not part of the podcast. Maybe a standalone video. If anybody has any interest in something like that, let us know. And it's very doable. We could take I could take a run up. We could hammer some traps out.
Apparently, it's not showing up in comments. It's directed just to us.
Well, there you go. Okay, no. We're dead serious. This is happening. We're not just making this stuff up. Like, here, hold on. You're gonna see my camera here for a second. And there, those that need to see that will see that. Let's just say that. But
yeah, no, the figure four is a great little
it's a good, easy one to start with.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it can be tricky, but it's a good one to start with because it'll give you a lot of concepts on other traps and triggering mechanisms because you use a couple different cuts and stuff like that. Like tri-stick. You hear us talk about tri-sticks all the time. It really is a good tool for people to practice with.
Yeah, it's just getting everything to line up and work. And I mean, the thing is, it's designed to be unstable, but yet stable enough. So it's this delicate balance of cutting it so that it's not so rigid that an animal can come up and take food away from it without it falling, but it has, you know, it has to have a sensitive trigger, but be stable enough to hold a significant amount of weight to crush the animal should it disturb it. You don't want it to blow over every time a breeze blows through or anything. So we
there's some finessing involved.
There's
some finessing. That's the best way to put that.
And if you're not good with a knife, like I mean, I did the whole thing with a little Mora knife, the companion, and you know, I didn't have any trouble. It was pretty good, and I did it first try, and it's been almost a year and a bit since I last tried it, and I haven't done a ton of them. And I was impressed. Like I managed to do it one stick, all from the one single branch that I found.
And that's the way I like to do it too, because then it's consistent wood and it mates together well. And what I mean by mating together is if you use like popple on fir, sometimes they'll slip off each other. You'll find that as you play with different types of wood, much like Ben said, using the same piece of wood to try and carve the hearthboard and spindle out of a bow drill. As long as it's the proper wood, to me, I find it works out a little better. Other people have different opinions on that, but and I mean, rightfully so. Nobody should have all the same opinions, I guess. Just for me, it always worked well. Like I like fir for making bow drills. A lot of people don't because of the resin in it. Sometimes it can add a little, like the resin turns hard and it doesn't create the right friction.
Yeah.
But I seem to have good luck with it. Sam, who I always refer back to because he's frankly, he's better at it than I am, and he's the one that got me to basically hunker down and get my crap together and my ducks in a row.
I watched him do it, man. He is pretty slow.
And he just whips it out. It's just so great. He uses popple. He's big on popple for both the spindle and the hearthboard. The socket really doesn't matter. If anybody watched actually, I have the demo saved at home. I keep forgetting to upload it. The demo that I did at another Nova Scotia Bushcraft gathering, I used, I think it was a piece of maple. I have a rock that I've used and it works. One of the videos that's on our channel, it says the birth of a socket stone. That was a rock that I forged strictly by hand to use as a socket. So the socket really doesn't matter. Actually, I can show you a few other neat things you can do with that to make it potentially a little easier.
Yeah. Like
it's called the one-handed bow drill, where you use like a fallen tree for your downward pressure. So you can use two hands to actually operate the bow if you wanted to. So there's different things you can do. It does work. A little bit more effort, maybe. A little bit more effort to start, less effort in the end. The effort is distributed elsewhere.
One I've seen that I'd love to do is the one where you get the disc and you wrap the string around the spindle and you're pushing down on it. That one's pretty neat. I watched a guy online, Primitive Technology.
Yes. He did an excellent job.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's guys.
He's not crazy. He's incredibly talented. He's crazy talented.
Yeah, crazy talented. So he went in and he literally made like ceramic discs and stuff. Like he made them out of clay. He fired them in the forge he built like out of his own two hands in the woods. And then he goes step by step. And it's just crazy. The guys, the whole video is him shot with no tools. He's wearing just a pair of shorts. And he goes in, he makes slingshots, he makes bows, he makes buildings, he makes pots. Anything
you can think of. Have you ever read some of the write-ups he does? Like he has a blog there and he go through. It's quite intensive what he does to do those videos. Like it's I don't want to spoil it. If you look up Primitive Technology on YouTube, highly recommend it. Give the guy a little credit and go read his blogs. There's a lot of interesting information in there and a lot of trial and error stuff that you can save a lot of your own hardships if you want to try and recreate some of this stuff. Because once again, the videos come off going, oh, anybody can do that because it's simple. But it's not simple. He's knowledged in his craft and he has done a lot of the trial and error and he writes about that.
Oh, yeah.
So you learn a lot about what not to do in his writings. Because, I mean, once again, why repeat the wheel? Why make mistakes that somebody else already has and has documented?
I would go spend a week in the woods with him, gladly.
100%. There's a couple people I just hands down.
I just
love
shut
to
up
go.
and follow him. I wouldn't bother them or anything. I just let him do his thing.
Well, you have to be quiet. That's very obvious by his video. The man needs silence.
But I think that's intentional, not because I don't think he likes to talk, but he wants it to be universally acceptable.
Yep.
So by not talking, it's not an English video, it's not a French video, it's not a Korean video, it's just a video. It's of just him and what he's doing. So everything is silently done. And if you can handle that, and some people couldn't.
I couldn't.
It's an awesome thing to watch, though. His videos are very enjoyable.
Incredibly enjoyable. There's a couple other people that have tried it. There's a lot of other ones that imitate it. Yeah. But honestly, he is probably one of the best I've seen.
Yeah, for
that quiet genre. To me, he may not have been the first, but he was the one that made it popular in my eyes.
Yeah, no, I think he's definitely
set a trend there.
He set a trend in a bar that's hard to beat.
He hasn't released a lot of videos lately. I've been eyeballing looking for new ones.
Yeah, well,
he's probably busy. COVID hit us all.
Yeah, I'm sure. No. So let's kind of get back on track.
Yeah. That was our show derail. So.
The only one?
No. I mean, this whole episode's kind of just a general chat anyway. But
no, we got Like I said, I have another trip coming up. I had a trip a few weeks ago. I got projects I want to try and hit. This trip, just something to throw out there. So last time I took tent. This time I'm thinking hammocks.
Let's go do tarps and hammocks.
Tarps and hammocks. He is my favorite. With cold temperatures, this is an interesting topic. It's actually bulkier to take my hammock setup than my tent setup.
We talked about that before because by the time you throw the underquilt into it, the hammock into it, and your top quilt into it, it actually is bigger.
Yeah. So I'm going to take the same sleeping bag as my top quilt as I did for the camping. I have that Hibernate that I've been using that I'm really liking. I really do find it pretty good. Now, on hard ground, on a thin mattress, I mean, there's no getting around to it. I'm a bit of a baby with my sleep system. I do find my hips and stuff will eventually get tired. I have to move around a little bit. But, I mean, I still get good night's sleep. I get a solid night's sleep. I do enjoy it. It's not that big of a deal for me. Hammock is going to be more comfortable. Hammock's a little quicker to set up, a little less finicky. I don't need good ground. But I do have that underquilt. That is the killer for me for that system.
It is a little bulky. I still never got around to buying my underquilt. Right. The one I wanted went out of stock. It hasn't come back in yet.
I got a few lying around. You've seen a few of them. Anyways, I'm going to loan one out this next trip. I'm going to take a whole setup for another guy. So he's going to basically be sleeping in one of my setups. I think he's bringing his sleeping bag. Is it? I got an underquilt for him. I got a tarp. I got a
first-time hammock sleeper.
No, but I don't think he's overly happy with the setup he's tried.
That's fair.
He's going to try one of mine. I may even offer to swamp on the second night, so I'll take the one Tigris and he can take the Mosquito one night, maybe, just to see if he wants
to see the difference.
Yeah,
that's a good way to do it.
I'm happy with both systems. They're both good, but they both have their advantages and disadvantages.
Christopher
Loveless.
Haven't seen you on here in a couple episodes now there, my friend. And yeah, you might have missed it at the start of that. This is the first official podcast shot literally side by side, minus one kind of attempt at one way long time ago, last year in a park. That didn't work out well.
This is going to be, it's still a work in progress, but where I'm sitting now is where most of my videos will be shot in the near future. And I'm supposed to be down here, honestly, months ago. Just didn't get around to finishing things with, same excuses I've been using forever. But COVID, I had a couple of issues down here, and I was getting everything organized as you guys can't necessarily see, but I guarantee you, Robert can see. There's a lot of work to be done down here still.
Everything's a work in progress.
Yeah, I got some lighting to put up. I got a lot of stuff to tidy up. My camping gear is like a hurricane. Just dumps.
That's the best way to have it, just everywhere where you need it immediately. But
I do have to get rid of some of this stuff too. Like I have a plethora of gear that I'm probably never going to ever use.
But the first time you get rid of it, you'll need it or want it.
I do.
Or
every
look for
time.
it.
Yeah.
I know I got rid of some stuff, and literally it was only days, and I needed it or wanted it again. So I understand the dilemma, but yeah, you're going back out again. A couple people going with you. You're going to lend out the hammock set up there. Now, are you going to try and just do the underquilt, or are you going to try and put the hibernate in there too? If anybody hasn't seen it there, Ben did do a kind of, you talked about the hibernate when you talked about the tent, I think, at the same time.
Yeah. I have tried the hibernate in a hammock, and I think it does work. And at this time of year, I'd probably get away. The problem is it's relatively narrow. It's just a little over 2 feet, I think, like 26 inches wide or something. There's another similar design out there that's 30 something inches that might be a bit better. The problem is it doesn't quite wrap around your hips enough. And so you don't get cold butt syndrome as long as you stay on top of it. But you are going to notice your sides, like the hammock pulls in and your sleeping system gets compressed, and you're going to get basically a little bit cold on your side. So it's not the perfect hammock option. There are a few companies out there that sell air mattresses better designed for, and they have like wings.
Yeah, I've seen those. A lot of those say they're designed for the hammocks that have, like, literally there's a slip in it. It's between the main hammock you sleep in, and it's just kind of like a double layer, and where you can slide in some sort of sleeping bag.
My mosquito hammock has that.
Does it? Okay.
It's a double layer hammock. So you have this basically on the same side of the zipper. You can open it up, you can slide something in there, and it more or less stays put. So that's a good system. When Tigris doesn't, my mosquito hammock also has bars that I put into it that I made out of Aeronox, and I've showed you that system. I mean, I dialed that system in pretty good.
Yeah, that's a very well dialed in system. Yeah. I do say so.
And it's, it was my first professional level hammock. I say that because I bought like a $24 open double hammock with no screen or anything, and that was pretty neat. And I still have it. I play with it every now and then. I don't really camp with it. I do like my screen.
Much like my Coleman, it's set up in my sunroom, and it's just my lazy recliner kind of system now. If I want to sleep kind of outside, but not really inside.
Here's something. You ever sleep in a tarp and have a mouse run in after you?
Not in a tarp. I had it happen in a tent once.
So
squirrel, not a mouse.
Oh, no, we were camping last weekend or 2 weekends ago in Keji, and the mice in Keji are unbelievable. I found rodents this year are very plentiful. I tell you, the foxes and owls are not starving this year. Anyway, we're out camping, and squirrels being too. My wife went in with the young one because we went the whole family the other week, and she went in with the little one to get her set up in the tent. The other two are sleeping in hammocks, and all of a sudden I hear this blood curdling scream like she's being murdered by like a band of people. So we run over, and there's a mouse inside the tent. They had left the screen open, and a mouse crawled in. And when she was moving something, the mouse jumped up and ran around. So now they're chasing this mouse and trying to get it out. It's one of those things.
Never understand how people think an animal yay big can swallow them whole. My father's terrified of mice. Absolutely terrified. He'll even self-admit he has no idea how a creature that big is going to swallow him whole, but he's sure it's going to do it. So, I mean, the fear is real.
I'm not worried about being swallowed whole. I don't want to be bit because there's more the risk of infection. I'm not even worried about the bite itself. Like, I'm like, okay, it's got a tiny meat mouth. It could cut me. I'm not going to bleed to death from it.
No, right? But there is that potential. Now you have a puncture wound. And don't get me wrong. Have you ever been bit by a rat?
Rat? No.
Okay, so I've never been bitten by a mouse, but I've been bit by a rat.
Yeah. And
their puncture is quite deep. Like, you wouldn't think an animal that small would have big teeth, but I mean, they're fairly long teeth on the front, and they're just like straightening out. You have this puncture hole at the end of it, and I mean, it is easily to get infected. Not only that, but I mean, any bacteria that animal had in its mouth and stuff, basically just injected directly into your skin. or your bloodstream, depending on where they bit. And it's not pleasant. Infection is a real thing.
My daughters have a hamster.
There you go. You know what I mean?
And over COVID, I'm working away, and one of the daughters decides she's going to take the youngest one. She takes the hamster out. She's playing with it. Next thing you know, I hear this blood-curdling scream. So I run in to see what happened. Blood everywhere. Like, I mean, just massacre. Like, Friday the 13th, got nothing on this. So anyways, blood all through the house. I mean, I don't know what's going on. My kid holds up her hand. There's blood, like whole hand's covered in blood dripping on the ground. It's just horrible. I'm like, what happened? Something about the hamster. So anyways, I clean her hand up. I mean, I can't even see the cut. And I'm looking around. It's this little tiny cut. Like, it bled.
But they bleed a lot.
Oh, man. It just caught the tip of her finger, and it opened up that wound. So, I mean, I cleaned it up. It bled out quite a bit. I wasn't too worried about this because when you bleed that much, most of it flushes it pretty good. Bandage it up. But yeah, no, it's shocking how much a little rodent can cut you.
Well, it's I'd like to say it's such a clean slice, but it is such a clean slice, but it's, I don't know how to describe it unless you've been bit by a rodent.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's just a rodent bite. They bleed forever. Yeah. Super glue. It's the best thing. You can just seal it back up and hope for the best.
That was the original intent for super glue.
Yep. I actually know that. It was, and honestly, they still use a derivative of it in a lot of surgeries. When I had my hernia surgery, I was glued back together. So, literally.
Yeah. They also put a mesh inside usually, did they not?
Oh, yeah, they did their work inside, but I mean, the outside incision was glued back together. It wasn't stitched. So.
Yeah, so, yeah, we had mice basically attack us. There's mice everywhere the whole time. And I don't usually lose any food to rodents, but we had stuff left out on the picnic table for just a few minutes. And you turn your head, it was
gone.
Yeah, so I had that.
So the mice were hungry.
That no oatmeal stuff, and it got cut the corner of my bag open. I lost half of it. So, yeah.
Yeah, I know once they start to, they don't stop. They come back and they keep coming and keep coming and keep coming.
We didn't need any of the junk food that was around either. Like, they went after good food. Like,
well, that's what it tells you something about junk food. If animals won't eat it, should you be eating? And I mean, don't get me wrong, I love junk food. Look at me, but it makes you wonder, right? Yeah.
One young fellow was there with chips. No, chips didn't get touched at all. Like, oh, eat that. No, my good, like, hemp hearts and chia seed and black seed and what's it? I think there's shredded coconut.
I was gonna say there's shredded coconut in it.
Yeah, it's that stuff. I mean, it's good. Like, it's all good solid ingredients, and it makes great meal. It's very filling. So this is what I make for oatmeal. If anyone's interested, I'll post the recipe for it sometime. Actually,
really good. I finally got together and made some because I seen Ben eat it. Both times we went camping together, and I always just brought oatmeal, and I was finally like, hey, you know what? The girls at home started making shakes, and they got the flax seed, and they got chick seeds, and I had some shredded coconut. I finally had enough stuff I could attempt making this. And it's good. It's better than oatmeal.
Oh, yeah.
I like it better than oatmeal. It's a little harder to make than oatmeal. Oatmeal buy by the bag, but plain oatmeal's not overly grand for you.
Oh, no. But you take all these ingredients. Like, I do bigger batches now. So I'll do, like, enough for, like, 6 meals. I'll mix it in one big bag, and then I just spoon it out when I'm ready, right?
Makes sense.
So it's as easy as oatmeal. And then you get, like, the little snack bags, like the drug bags, and just no, but you want about like 6 solid tablespoons in there, and that's a good meal.
And that is something to point out. Anybody that does try this, if they take the recipe, this stuff swells up a little bit too. Yeah. Don't deceive yourself with how much is in there. Ben neglected to mention that part.
That's not going to be enough to fill me up.
I looked at it, I'm like, what the hell did Ben give me? I'll double that.
Yeah.
Anyway, it turned out to be a little more than I could handle. It was a lot.
That's awesome.
It's good. It's good.
It's good. It's very filling. It's good for you. Like, there's nothing. It's all. It's all. So it's probably better than oatmeal. Not that oatmeal is bad.
I would say that, like, just the quality of the product is better than oatmeal. The taste is better than oatmeal, and just nutritional value, you're probably going to get more out of it than oatmeal.
So we tried dehydrating more food.
Right.
Yes, that's something we could chat about for a few minutes.
I got
Dehydrated.
2 dehydrators now.
You bought a second one?
I got
Well,
2.
you had one, then you bought another one.
Yeah, but yeah. So, anyways, the wife did up some dehydrated strawberries, and she's gonna mix that in with these.
Oh, dehydrated strawberries are great.
Oh man, I tell you, I try, like, I have an abbreviated version of this oatmeal, and I threw a few in, and man, did those dehydrated, the flavor just shot through it. They didn't even need much. Like I definitely have less than the strawberry in it, but man, the whole thing, it just added this beautiful extra taste to it.
Trying to think what you guys would call them. Service berries? Tea berries,
tea
sugar
berries.
berries is what we always call them.
Oh yeah.
They're super good dehydrated too. Oh, they had they're almost 100% sugar. I mean, like they're 900% carbs probably if you look them up, but they are good.
It's just carb. No,
Actually, we can do a whole episode. We should do an episode on dehydrating one of these times.
Oh,
We
yeah.
did one on trail food. Would you guys be interested in hearing a little bit more about like actual dehydrating? It's something that both Ben and I do. You're getting into it quite a bit right now. I've dabbled with in the past. I've tried making fruit roll-ups. Didn't have the greatest luck with that. But I love dehydrated apples, a lot of fruits, veggies, chives, things like that. It goes really well, and it packs up well when you take it in the woods. We did mention dehydrating in that Trails Food episode. We just didn't really go into depth too hard with it.
So the last time I took spaghetti, so how I did it is I did the ground beef, made what they call grapple.
Mhm.
And then I did the sauce, and that's like a leather. And then instead of regular carby noodles, I use the spaghetti squash because it's lower carb, and it's a little sweeter. I really like it. It does add, and I had all the 3 done separate, and I now have, like, you've seen the wife, she brought the bottle eight. So we're doing the sauce now. I got like 2 kilograms of meat done. I did 4 giant spaghetti squashes.
So when you do the spaghetti squash, do you peel it out with a fork and like actually put it in the noodle, or do you just do?
So I take the spaghetti squash, I get rid of the seeds and stuff, and I put it in the oven with a little bit of olive oil, and I bake it for 45 minutes or so at like 375 or so, maybe, until it's soft and easy enough to peel out. Took it out, scraped it out, and I filled a big Tupperware container, and I'll show you later the Tupperware container and the bag what I got left. Like, it dehydrates a lot. I put it on the solid trays in my dehydrator. I had 3 of them. They were loaded up like 1/4 inch high, or maybe even more. And it's down. I got 2 tiny little of that.
So when it rehydrates, does it come out well?
Yeah. So I was camping with Chris Morsley. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Right. So, and he suggested something, and it seems to work really well. He said, add it to the water, don't add the water to it. Does that make sense to you? So what I did is I filled my little pot, my little open country cook pot that I use.
Talked about it last week.
Yeah. So I took that, I filled it about halfway full, and then I took what I figured was enough to fill the pot. And I dropped each of those ingredients in. So I dropped the meat, the noodles, and the sauce in, and it hydrated right up, like no problem. And it easily filled this jug. And I sat it there. I put the stove down and simmered it for a while, give it a chance to really rehydrate, and it was awesome.
Sweet. And for anybody wondering, there is an knack to rehydrating stuff. If you tried dehydrated stuff and you didn't like it, YouTube some videos on how to rehydrate. That's why I actually asked you the question, because I was wondering how squash would rehydrate, just because a lot of water in squash. And you're pulling a lot of water out of squash. And sometimes things that you pull a lot of water, like watermelon, does not rehydrate well.
No.
You know what I mean? So,
I bet you it goes down to nutting.
It does.
It's like,
that's what I tried to make the fruit roll-ups. It does not rehydrate well. It did not make very good fruit roll-ups either. But anyway.
I would almost suspect with watermelon, this is just me, and think of me as an amateur dehydrator. I would almost suspect with watermelon that you'd almost want to make like a jam out of it first.
Yeah, and I think that's exactly what you'd have to do.
I think I would put it in a pot and I would render it. and then take that paste that you would be left with and try dehydrating that, and you might have a chance of getting a leather out of it. The ones I've seen for like apples and stuff that people do, they use like an apple sauce and you dehydrate that.
That's the best way to get apples down, because if you try and dehydrate them in slices, they never really go down perfect. They go down to like a candy, and I love them, honestly.
Oh, yeah.
If you rub them in a little bit of lemon, they'll stop from getting brown, and then dehydrate them. Man, they come out with great candy. Ginger root's another one.
Yeah,
Ginger root's really nice.
well, those strawberries, you could go up there and eat the whole thing. I'm sure the wife has hid it from me now. She's seen me stealing a few pieces. I'm sure they're hidden.
So we sort of derailed again. Mind you, we're coming up on an hour, and once again, it's just kind of a general chat.
Yeah.
We were trying to figure out how the whole flow of this, us being together and shooting a video kind of deal would work. I think it went rather well.
Yeah.
I mean, if we had a little more structure, probably would have went a lot better. I'm assuming this is going to be one of those videos that we get that, they ramble a little bit kind of comments on. We do have that from time to time. But anybody that's been with us since episode 1,
Yeah,
it's not that we ramble a little bit from time to time. We ramble every single episode. It's just whether you're interested in it or not.
yeah. We get as many positive comments from that, though.
Oh, we get more positive comments. Than
people
we do negative. We
it's
can't
like-
please everybody.
This is just like listening to guys at the campfire. Well, this is essentially what we are, right? Like,
My number one favorite comment has always been, "It's better than poison ivy." I love it. Like every time it gave us 4 or 5 stars. I'm good with that, but it's like, it's better than poison ivy, and I'm like, what more can you ask for? Like, to a couple of bushcrafters, I think that is a very skillful tip of the hat.
Yeah.
But anyway, that is
part of it for me is the banter. Yeah. My speaking of poison ivy, so we were walking through Keji. My middle daughter comes up to me and she's like, "My arms are all itchy and they're red." I look at it and there's some slight bumps and stuff on it. I was like, like this needs to be dealt with, but I can't at this exact moment. I reached in my pack and I gave her a bar of soap and I'm like, "Go wash it off. Like, this is all I can tell you to do right now. Go wash it off." So anyway, she went over to the water, she washed it off, and I finished the portage and stuff, and I checked on her. Sure enough, a few minutes later, I'm talking to her. She's like, "Yeah, it's pretty well. It's calmed down a lot." I'm like, I don't really have a lot of other options. I didn't have calamine lotion or anything, but it is like if it was poison ivy or poison oak or something along those lines, or just something it's the oils that get to you. So if you can wash them off,
you're way better off.
You're ahead of the game anyway. So that was just something that we tried. It worked. And the thing I'm really proud of it is she told us right away. She could have kind of hit it, and I'm like, "Don't scratch it. Like, just don't go."
Well, it spreads it, right?
Yeah.
Because now it's on your hands, and
I know
hands
how
go
hard
everywhere.
it was. Like, she suffered a bit for that. Like, here's a bar of soap. Go wash it. Do not scratch anymore. It's just gonna get worse if you do. And it's just torture.
well, that's good for her.
Yeah. So I've had really good luck with kids. Anyone who has the opportunity to take your kids out in camp, you really should. They learn a lot, and you learn a lot. And they're a lot tougher than you expect. My other daughter, we've talked about it. She
I'd rather be outside.
hey, yeah, so do we. Unfortunately, we sometimes have to be inside. So this is what we do to
amuse ourselves.
We need a way to break. Because apparently you can't spend all the time outside. Somebody's going to come after you for something.
Eventually.
Yeah.
Eventually.
But yeah, no, they surprised me. My daughter burned herself on one trip I went.
Yeah.
And she, she told me right away. We were able to deal with it with a little bit of the burn cream. Maybe not what St. John's Ambulance recommends. I'm going to say it's not. That burn cream really does work. I highly recommend it.
Something else that works really well, especially I've started carrying them in my pack, is it's still burn gel, but it comes on a pad.
Yeah.
And you just take if you get a significant burn, and they're like a 4x4 pad. You know what I mean? If you get a bad burn, something like that, rope burn. That's what I found it worked actually really well on. Put it in the palm of my hand. And those aren't overly expensive. I think water jet or water gel. One of the two, Amazon. You can get the 4x4 patches. They're not incredibly expensive.
Oh, yeah?
And they're actually a good thing to throw in the old first aid kit now. But
we're going to end this, aren't we?
are you trying to find the water gel? So yeah, we might as well enter there. We're coming up on an hour of rambling, but I like these episodes.
Unfortunately, you have to drive, so that's
what I was eyeballing there. So I noticed it's getting a little later.
I would be good to go all night,
Well,
but and maybe someday we will get the next camping trip. We were going to sit and we're just going to chat for a few hours. I mean, water gel.
Yeah, I think it's water gel 4x4s. They actually make a face one. Not necessarily one to keep in the first aid kit, but it's hilarious if you throw it on somebody's face. We had some expired ones we had to change out, and yeah, they're fun. That's all I can say.
BURN.
Yeah, I think it's water gel or water jet. But anyway,
water gel, burn gel.
Yeah, there you go.
Burn shield.
Yep.
72 cents per item, $6 in shipping.
Yeah, that's very
Cool
similar,
gel.
but I mean, buy more than one, obviously, so it's worth it. I think you actually have to buy them in packs 20 or 24 or something like that.
Pack of 6 here for $21, $11 shipping. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, you can find them with free shipping. The ones I picked up had free shipping. You just search around, and they're actually pretty good. The benefit is if it is a bigger burn, you have the pad. If it's a smaller burn, you can still squeeze the gel out of it. You sacrifice the pad, but
Yeah.
it's pulling double duty. It's still just the same burn gel you're going to buy in the bottle, just infused into a pad.
Yeah.
So there's your tip for tonight.
I had a blister in our last canoe run. Thanks. I know. You got to be it. Yes, moleskin is a great product. We talked with that a few times.
And in a pinch, duct tape will work, but moleskin is far superior in like every single conceivable way.
Yeah.
They make another product too. I can't remember what it's called. Not moleskin, but there's another one similar to moleskin.
Second skin.
Second skin. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah. So moleskin more is like a fibrous material, and second skin is it's like a clear plastic that's designed to go on skin, and it gets rid of the friction and protects the skin. Both products are amazing, and I first really became aware of it in the military, and I tell you, it's saved a lot of people's careers there.
We used to quit a bit in DNR.
Yeah,
just tromping around for like 16 hours a day through burnovers.
Yeah,
man, you can get some bad blisters.
Honestly, if you're going to spend any amount of time in the woods doing especially long overnight hikes or long trips, that is a product that should definitely be in your first aid kit. It can make the difference between getting out of the trip and not. Honestly,
for sure. Well, both of us are big advocates for your feet. I mean, if nothing else in the woods, take care of your feet and they'll take care of you.
Yeah.
You can't do anything if you can't walk.
No.
You're a turd on a log, as they say, or a bump on a log, or whatever that term is.
With the canoe and kayak trips, you kind of can, like you can.
Yeah.
But if you got portages and stuff, like that's even more brutal, like because you're not just going with your 30-pound pack, ultra light. Like I mean, you can drop some of your gear out too, but with that, you're dragging a 30 to 70-pound boat plus gear, and since you had the boat, you took more gear than you would have needed anyways.
Oh, of course. I mean, when we went in the canoe, we took way more gear than we needed. We took a turkey.
Took a 25.
Still, anytime you go in that boat, there should be a turkey in it. I still stand by that. But
I've ruined you for camping.
I know. I expect a deep fried turkey every time I go out now. I
I
go to the hunting blind and I'm like, where's the turkey? Deer look at me like I'm stupid. It's weird. But anyway, I think that is basically it for me for tonight. I do got to start toddling off towards the great green yonder to get back to my bed before it's too late and I wake everybody up when I blow through. But yeah, I think tonight was a good experience for this whole.
You got to see some neat stuff tonight.
I got to see some neat stuff.
And you guys are going to get to see it.
Yes, because I did record it.
There is something coming. We have some more video to do. I'd rather be outside. Is pretty excited about this, I think.
He may already have a sneak peek.
Yeah, well, he may. But yeah, this is something that's coming up. I'm going to get some more video of it in action and working, and that's kind of exciting. Yeah, buddy, yeah. So, a lot of stuff coming up. Very excited to get back in.
Yeah, now that things are starting, and this is a good time of year for it.
Oh man, the leaves are already starting to change.
Yeah, well, we frost this morning. I had to scrape my window off.
Yeah. No, I mean, I've gone before and like Thanksgiving and be like, is it going to be changed yet? Like,
It's still hot.
yeah. But this year, even 2 weeks ago when we were out, I noticed some of the higher trees are already starting to turn orange. So I expect in the next few weeks, we're going to see some
Big
beautiful
changes.
colors.
Yep.
So
So
that's
beautiful time of
exciting.
year to start going out. So if you're out there, definitely get out, do some touring. Great time to go into the woods. Pack a little warm, because there's nothing worse than being cold. We found that.
An old acquaintance / friend contacted me sort of out of the blue in the last couple of days, looking for some trips. So I may actually be getting out with him too. So
Cool.
it's kind of exciting. And I know you're always up if there's any way we can
Coordinate it.
orange. Yes, especially orange is a great suggestion, especially if you're not in like the national parks and stuff.
Because bow season started Monday.
Yeah.
And in 2 weeks, you're going to have crossbow muzzle loaders. And then 2 weeks after that, you're going to have long gun.
Yeah.
And
that's for deer.
Yeah.
What about bird?
October 1st.
Yeah. Okay. So it's all coming up.
It's all coming together, man.
There are going to be more guns in the woods.
Actually, duck season. I don't know when duck and geese start. I'm talking grouse.
Yeah.
Grouse
I
starts
mean,
October.
and we're not anti-hunting. Don't get us wrong, but we're very safety conscious hunters.
Yeah.
We're neither of us, and I hate to talk, for you, but neither of us are big on carrying loaded guns. Our guns are loaded shortly before we plan on shooting.
And sometimes not at all.
Sometimes we don't even take the ammo. But no, I mean, we know how easily firearms can cause an accident.
Oh,
How quickly someone can get hurt, and we're both big advocates for being 100% sure of what you're shooting at and what's well beyond what you're shooting at. My father was a hunting guide, and he spent a lot of time in the woods with a lot of different people. And I can assure you that is not the attitude of every single person out there.
no.
I hope it is the attitude of the majority. But if you're out there, do be aware it may not be.
Hey,
Yes.
Gary, welcome.
Yes, Gary.
We're just finishing up,
We
bud.
want a party. We need a campfire trip with the works of us, or just a campfire show with you in there. So we will be talking.
For sure. And just to finish this up while we're on the topic, how interested are you folks out there in maybe us doing a show on a little bit of hunting topics? I got a guide I could definitely bring into it, and you have a plethora of experience, and I got some experience. It's definitely a topic we could cover. We just don't know if anybody's interested in it. So you tell us. Would you care to hear some a little bit of chat about hunting? Maybe. Well, you tell us. What do you want to know about it? And we'll see if we can accommodate it in some way, shape, or form. Don't get us wrong. We're not master hunters. We are, like I said, we're mediocre at best. But, I mean, we're out in the woods.
Yeah.
I can say that for sure.
I can talk about, tracking animal for miles on a single couple of drops of blood. You'd have trouble mimicking the size with a fine tip pin. I can talk about that, but I can also tell you that I'm no, is it Daniel Boone, Davy Crocker,
and I can tell you lots of stories about where I have gotten deer and they've been great. I've gotten lots of things and it's been great, and
I've never shot a deer.
Never shot a deer. Most fun I've had was bow hunting.
Yeah,
I prefer bow hunting over rifle hunting. Rifle hunting has its place. Bow hunting is more personal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm always, if you're going to go take the life of something to eat it, you should be a little personal with it. It's my 2 cents on it. Not just my own belief on that. Everybody has their own.
There's definitely a level of respect there.
So, but anyway, that's it for me for tonight. You guys let us know what you want to hear. Maybe in the future, again, I can travel up and we can shoot another video from Ben's little studio here. I mean, sky's the limit.
Yeah.
Some options are opening up to us now that things are starting to get back to sort of normal.
Well, we got a few projects we want to work on.
Exactly. So potentially we could just arrange for Wednesday nights.
Yeah, we can look at some options. I mean, this worked out really good. Next time you have to eat here though.
Fair enough. Yeah, that Irving hot dog is not sitting well. I can tell you that much.
I'm not putting up with that voice.
Oh, that was a bad call. But anyway, everybody have a good night.
Thanks for everyone for joining us, and we will be talking to you guys next week. Probably we'll be talking a little bit about hunting next week. I'm predicting that. Because it's definitely a big topic right now.
Either dealing within the woods or going hunting on your own. Something's definitely going to be covered on some
And
level.
Peter North, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, that was the highlight of the night. Now I have proof. I legitimately have proof. And like I said, those who will need to see it will see it.
See you later. Bye.
See yous.
What the hell was